frightening. Hold on a second. Found you. Yeah, my goal was to find the old pier at Quenos. Yeah, these graphics are kind of hard to take, man. And the other thing that's driving me nuts is this. All right, here we go. Start at the beginning. Okay, clicking through the spell book. Clicking more, clicking. Good Lord, how many spells does this guy have? On and on. Okay, fine. Yeah. I mean, I know circles and rings and stuff. Yeah, that's teleportation, but what? Of course. Oh, wait. Zany swimming animation. I forgot about the Fisher guy down here. Wizard Guildmaster. Who knew? A rodent. Oh dear. Yeah, if we actually do anything with this, I'm just going to have to get a new character and work through it. And I can't see any of the UI elements. I know. Back in the day, we didn't have the resolution that we do now, but the eyes haven't gotten any better either.
Well, I think the UI is still extremely customizable.
Yeah, I moved some stuff. Pardon me, some stuff around, and the mill. I guess it's a PC. I can't tell. That's an NPC. Okay. Well. Oh. Seems like an unnecessary wall, but maybe it was necessary back in the day for produce those pixels, those vertices. And they get this little side moonwalk thing going on. Hello, how's it going? Whoa, that's frightening. What have you done? You get the Big Brothers thing going on there.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I've got a new microphone.
Oh, okay. The microphone sounds great. Actually, we can't hear the microphone. You sound great using the microphone. There's probably like a water breathing thing. But tell us about this background that you're inflicting upon us there.
Hello. How goes?
All right.
Now we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Fritz right there.
Fritz.
20 years on. His old picture was him younger. Behind me, I put that up on that side.
I saw that picture, and it's very 1984 Big Brother, yes. Looming out as, yeah. But it does set the scene. That is the look of a man who survived Cthulhu, or at least Cthulhu-esque situations. Oh, here we go. Here's a bridge. I'm hearing this horn. What's the deal with? Whoa! What the heck? A bank. I wonder what I've got in my bank. Hey, how you doing? I remember you. Hey, is this a relative of yours, E?
Don't think so.
Okay. Get the name and everything. All right, so what we do? Hey, stand close and right click. Okay. Okay. Hold on here. Gotta sort this out. So that's the Druid character, and all this stuff. Ancient coin. Well, by now I imagine so. I have plants. I kept plants. Okay. This is actually interesting. It's almost archaeological in nature. Are you trying to resurrect what it was you were thinking of? What do I do here? Left click.
What do we?
Ooh, I didn't want that. Put it back. Okay. What'd you say?
What are we in? What are we looking at?
Oh, this is EverQuest 1.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, just trying to remember all this stuff. Sewing kits. Okay, what was the reason for having those? There was some glitch. They were small items that had a lot of space for crafting components, I think. Got water, food. Oh, yeah, that's the druid thing, right?
They were large storage that was very lightweight.
Yes, and you got a whole bunch in here. All right, what else we got? Oh, that's right. EverQuest tracks your food and water, so you have to. I haven't been doing that. Fishing. Hey, I got fishing gear. All right. Now let's say back to this. I was big on keeping food around. Dusty.
You're a druid. You can summon food and water.
Apparently, I didn't like to waste any. Yeah, see, I've got there's meat in there. That must be for like cooking.
Yeah.
What's this? Flask of nitrates. So what? Is it making bombs or something? Ring of something. Timorous coconut. Yeah, so this is like cooking ingredients.
Was it
Yeah,
Ring of
these are
Martha?
Yeah, there's a ring of Martha Stewart in here. You're right. Bloodsaber Defiler's Head. Okay. Velium Scimitar. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Because of
We just
the
went through
frozen ice thing. Yeah.
We just went through the joy of replacing phones today.
Oh, really?
So I've been trying to transfer it over.
Fun. Okay. Oh, yeah. This is all hopelessly lost to time. This is a big hammer. Frost Giant Hammer. Woohoo. Oh, I kept my newbie stuff. Yeah, I did. Right down to the tattered note. I remember that. Oh, fishing pole. Yeah, gotta have an extra fishing pole. Okay. Just don't combine the stuff. I remember. All right. So what's this? The heritage. It must be. Didn't you say you had an ogre head in yours, Steve?
I do.
There's all sorts of crazy stuff. All right. Hello. Good evening. How goes?
Good evening.
Yep. Yeah. Hear you good. Hear you well. It's
Hey,
just
careful! Don't punch the banker.
what's that?
Don't punch the banker.
Yeah. Try not to. You're right. That would be bad. I remember doing that at least once. Okay. You can find items, but you can't find spells. That's too bad.
Can't find spells.
Can't find spells. I'll show you what I mean. So here's he's got 62 pages of spells.
Dang. What level is this guy?
And on 85.
Wow.
It's been literally 20 years. Good grief. I don't remember a thing about. I know druids. I remember the tactic, the solo thing that got people pissed off with druids all the time. Because
Kite.
I actually enjoyed doing that. Not pissing people off, just doing the soloing thing. And the most fun I had with druids is running around as a wolf. But yeah, bunch of port spells, bunch of dots, bunch of charms that didn't work well. Yeah, it's tough. All right, so boards work. Oh yeah, hold on. I know what I need to try here. How do you fish? That's one way to fish. How do we get out of here?
That's the one with the bait for sure.
Oh boy, am I stuck in the water now? Can I not pull myself out of the water?
You are a permanent fish.
So can I dive? There must be like oh, don't do that. Turn that off. I turned attack off.
Okay.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to go up and down.
Beyond jumping.
Yeah, I tried
That's
that.
usually
This is how level 85 characters die.
I accomplished what I wanted to do, so I'll just gate out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going to take me though. The Gulf of Gunthank. Good thing Seraph's not here. Water bad.
Yeah.
He says as he gates out of the water. Ranma, what's Ranma doing here? Yeah, okay, large fellow. Oh, yes, I remember this spot. This is where I woke up. It has water that you can't easily get out of it, too.
It's even worse.
Yeah, and just got the whole boat, fall off the boat thing going on. Of course, I remember Seraph's corpse recoveries. would go something like, let's see if I can get out here without being killed. Really is no way to easily get. Okay, well, let me find it.
Yeah, don't fall in that water.
Oh no, I can manage this. I think. No, I can't because I'm not going to find the spells I need. But anyway, you'd levitate. You'd run over the water. Let's walk on water. And then, of course, you're a druid, so you're fast. You do your wolf thing and go out and find the corpse and drag it back. Or you could just get a necromancer to summon the thing. Whoa. Those guys look hungry. Hey, guys. How you doing? They have a much higher polygon count than I do. A little jealous.
Are you
Green
using
and
the newer
spots.
character models or the old one?
I was using the new ones, but yeah, I am using the new ones.
Yeah, that's the new one. They had that anime standing a little bit leaning forward look to them.
Yeah, see, it's Gwen there, and there's a it's an elf looking thing. Yeah, it is Mr. Peg. And what are we doing here? Mr. Peg, hello. So how are things in your neck of the woods?
For the whole family failing their fortitude save, so we're doing okay.
The whole family?
It's just about.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, going to Chef Wang, the end of the
What did
world
you
anymore.
cook?
Exactly. Actually, I think if I had eaten there, I'd be okay. But I canceled
Yeah.
everything out. We'll just flushed it out.
For Neff's benefit, that's COVID, is what he's referring to. C told us yesterday evening.
Yeah. All but Oliver and Quinn, because they were gone the weekend that it began here.
Mhm.
And then, unfortunately, my mom's got it. And she's surprised because she's vaccinated.
Yeah.
That doesn't, yeah, the vaccination thing for the Delta variant I've read it prevents you from getting very sick, but it doesn't do as well as you would hope at preventing you from getting it.
Yeah.
So there's a lambda. You're right.
There's so many. We
Yeah.
need the whole dang alphabet.
Yeah, we'll start using acrylic before long.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
I thought the booster shot thing wasn't till November.
They've been
Hey,
running trial runs. I know that much, and they finally got FDA approval to do it across the board.
How do I log out of this silly thing? I'm sorry to hear it. I hope things work out well.
Yeah, we are too. Thor and Sebastian are okay. You couldn't tell they're sick. They got so much energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have lost my sense of smell. I haven't lost my sense of taste. Oddly enough.
Hmm.
I don't know. Wearing that shirt?
That was a good one. Now I got a shirt drying up that you definitely say, oh yeah, you definitely lost your sense of taste.
Well, it's not every night you can come to this camera with a smoking jacket on.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'm going through the joys of a new phone. Krista wanted a new one, so we went and got a couple of new phones. I'm trying to get everything transferred.
There you go. What'd you get?
It's a new Samsung.
There you go.
It's, I don't know, I think it's the same one Logan got. It's tall and skinny, but
Yeah.
I've already dropped it. But it's slicker than the old one.
Yeah, that's why I bought an OtterBox for mine because I dropped mine more than I'd like to admit.
Well, that's what's got on it, but thankfully it landed flat on its back. But that was our day's project. I guess I better double it. Yeah.
There you go.
I'm glad everybody's pretty much making it through it.
I don't know if
Yeah.
she's vaccinated or not.
Katie's in. We all showed up over at Matt's for a few minutes last night. We did our first reaction video. Matt's in the process of editing right now. But I think that worked rather well, all of us being at your house. Yeah, I know. I'm eating too.
The audio didn't quite turn out as I'd hoped. The song overrode it pretty badly. So Well,
They might start doing on 2 tracks and everybody having a separate mic or something.
yeah, that's exactly what happened. When the recording combined it into one track, and it's not possible to separate it out easily.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and this one, there's still some usable stuff in there because you have our facial expressions as things happen.
Yeah.
So, I'll work with what we got, but in the future, you're right. Gonna have to improve the setup. So,
The Fine brothers that do the React channel, the ones that got into trouble when they tried to copyright the word React, they always have the people watching or wearing headphones and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess that would work. Everybody have headphones, then just use the big mic for everybody's combined vocals. It's just going to find a splitter for the headphones.
yeah, that's exactly right. So we'll get it down. We'll improve it. Which reminds me, Peg, have you seen our commercials that we made so far?
I saw the car commercial. I saw that one. I think I saw the March of the Zen Bassmasters. I saw that one too.
We could
Yeah,
certainly design a self-driving car, Matt.
Yeah, we start with
how
Steven's
far
bike.
would it self-drive? That's the only question. Probably down the hill and straight into another car.
As soon as you turn it on, it blows up.
A lot of the pictures you had on that video were a car driving in the desert. What's it going to hit?
Yeah, that's
Right.
what was that going to Vegas game that
Oh, yeah, it was the Vegas
the
bus
comedians.
ride or something. Penn and Teller
Yeah,
did it,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
literally a simulation of driving a bus to Vegas. There's
Nothing on the road. That's right.
nothing on the road.
Occasional
Lot-
tumbleweed and armadillo. Yeah.
Lawnmower Simulator came out.
Yes, it did. I want to try out the pressure washer simulator. That actually looks interesting.
Yeah, that does look interesting.
Well, there are still my initials carved in the concrete at the Space and Rocket Center when I had. In fact, it's been 30 years. It's probably crumbled and been repaved by now, but there was an SCM right at the corner of the little area that the patio sticks out. It's just a little corner of concrete that I didn't think anybody ever see. He can probably come up with something with his equipment. We could probably come up with one too. We'll send you stuff and let you put the tags on the beginning and end. He's got that small jungle in his backyard. We could come up with something. Film a Nerf war with all of his children. Be some sort of version of Tropic Thunder. I'm half a piece of pizza from ready to go. Fritz talked to me just a little bit. How do you want to approach your arrival? Did you seek out the Institute or did it seek out you?
Is that for me?
He would not be opposed to seeking it out, but he is a station. He is a faculty of the Miskatonic U, so they might have gone to him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to get in my head, because we do have a.
Well, go ahead and have them come to him.
Yeah.
And he'll.
Since we've pretty much established that everybody else has already come to London, you're straggling behind. So I just want to come up with a good reason to bring you in. And we do have a deficiency in occultists in the group, so it works out.
Yeah.
So guess we'll start with you. You're brought to the old house and welcomed in. The servants take your bags and you're met with Lord Redmond, who you have met before. Through the university. He has been there to lecture before. Basically, he's the Archmage of Britain. His title and glowering presence doesn't faze you one bit. You know what he is. And he's a very busy man right now.
What can I do you for?
No, he said, I've been notified of your arrival and your skills are welcome.
What are we looking at? Can you
what we're looking for is we know that the Nazis are seeking out even amateur magic users around the world. They're going after artifacts around the world. The French have had a clue of where Durandal, the sword of Roland, Charlemagne's sword, is rumored to be hidden. And they've asked us to retrieve it because just like we hold Excalibur dear, as the storm clouds are coming, they want it close.
What was
So-
that called again?
I'm not exactly of the pronunciation. It's Durdendal or Dendal, Durandal. And like I said, it is, the theory is it's in a monastery in northern Spain at the where Roland fell. The monks took it to hide it. It is very much akin to Excalibur's. It will cut through anything, but it doesn't necessarily have the healing powers that Excalibur does. It's just the sharpest weapon on earth, basically. It's a challenge between one sword to the other over which is sharpest. So they just want it close by as storm clouds are brewing. At this point, we were very close to war breaking out. You know, they've already been strongly worded letters back and forth and this and that. We're very close to the beginning of things. You know, we explained that even low-level magic users like Sean's parents have been abducted. And right now, we have evidence that they were shipped, you know, with some other Chinese into southern Spain. And we've got a team fixing to go in, check it out, see if we can find out where they are, why they were brought here, and what the connection is. The only thing we know is that Hitler's a nut on the occult, and he's doing everything he can to try to spearhead his armies with mystical powers, and by any means necessary. And we're seeing some of the results, even on an international scale. The wizard that we ran into in Hong Kong, which was he was just across the border in mainland China, was powerful, yes, but he wasn't, say, on Redmond's level. He was still like a field battle mage. And the fellow we encountered and killed was like a line level wizard. So we're moving up the chain a little bit, getting into bigger and badder things. But we have found the vessel that was listed on the invoice that the other players recovered last time. It has docked northwest of Gibraltar, and that's where everybody's going to head out to.
I can help him locate it.
Yeah. So I'll have to apologize in advance for the map. I couldn't find a modern ship. It's in the map, it's a wooden ship, but it's truly not. It is a steamer, but it had the docks that I wanted. We had toyed with the idea of advancing we couldn't decide which way we wanted to go. We had toyed with the idea of sending an advance team up to the monastery while another team highlighted the docks. But we feel like that there may be there are forces massing in both locations. The softer insertion point is the docks. There's more things going in the northeast of Spain, right on the corner of the channel there. That's more disconcerting. You know, the people that were sent in as advisors during the Spanish Civil War have pulled back to that area and are marshaling there, presumably to head back to Germany. Kept a lot of equipment there. They're just sitting there. And that makes me wonder if there's not going to be a run on, the monastery, because this location is unknown. We just have a good clue. So with that, French is introduced to everyone else, save Sean, mysteriously disappeared, both literally and figuratively. We'll give Matt a minute to get back. But as you're meeting with Lord Redmond, Lord Baltimore strolls up and Redmond introduces you. This is one of my best agents, Wade Baltimore. You'll be
Very good.
so we'll give Matthew a chance to get back and we'll proceed. Did that catch you up, Peg?
Yeah,
Okay.
I kind of remember what we had, at least what I had planned
Yeah.
before, and that was coming in through France.
Like I said, that was what you and Laura were going to do.
Yeah,
Duncan, we're going to go that way, and then everybody else is going to go check this out. But you had a hotter path, and you may still wind up doubling back and going that way for insertion rather than going up from the docks. So really at this point, 6-1 half dozen the other, but you're stuck between two forces if you go overland.
well, I remember, as you're saying, in Barcelona, that's where the Nazi forces were gathered.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is after essentially the nationalist forces to beat out the Republicans
Yeah.
in the Spanish Civil War. So there's still remnants, and I think Gibraltar was the one true safe. Well, safe.
It's still basically under British control.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's the one safe place because right now, the Spanish government can't force anything there.
Yeah.
Once outside of it, it's a free for all. But
yeah,
I think my original plan was, hey Pandora, sorry, that's the cat. My original plan was to start in France because at least on that side they would know of the legend.
Yeah.
In that area, especially, and of course that borders where everything went down. And
Yeah.
if I had to find another way to insert into Spain, then so be it. But
Yeah.
my original plan was at least check on the French side in that mountain range area, try and nail something down, and if need be, sneak across, climb over, swim around.
Yeah.
Or all the way up and back in.
Well, being that the Spanish agents have laid eyes on the steamer, we decided we better act on that before that changed much. It's already, at this point, it has already been a day before we got the word it's there. The ship itself is probably going to be empty, but it's worth checking it out.
Yeah.
Get a hold of the manifest, what are they actually calling all this? And see if we can find a concentration of Asian people in southern Spain. They gotta be moving them some way.
Well, the easiest way is by rail.
Yeah. A lot of that infrastructure is probably still blown to hell.
And the other thing too is that if they're there, the best place to check at least first is Barcelona, because that's where that encampment is, and that's where one would guess they would have gone first, because that's at least under direct Nazi control. If there are standing railways, they're moving somewhere, but I would have to guess they're at least holding them there for a period of time in that port. Because, like you said, you are right. Probably the mass majority of the railroads and train stations were blown up.
Yeah, because we're only maybe 3 weeks from the.
The other thing too, you'd have to consider is if they brought them here, where would they be keeping them? That's my guess is Barcelona. If not Barcelona, I have no idea where they would send them from there. They wouldn't send them to Madrid, or would they use them as free labor to rebuild?
I don't know. Our people on the inside tell us they suspect they're being graded, evaluated, that kind of thing. But We have no idea of location
Yeah.
yet. Like I said, this news is only 18 hours old. We can fly in, but bringing the seaplane up to the port would be too obvious.
Yeah, obviously.
The Spanish have, our guy in the Republicans, the underground, have put us a ship out there we can meet and take a launch into the docks.
Better than nothing.
That's our insertion we've got planned. Sean, you have anything to add to that idea?
No, that sounds good to Sean. And I apologize doing some business with the garage there.
It's okay.
Guys here to finish it up and hopefully be signing the last check here shortly.
All right. You got your
Yeah,
power
all right.
going up and everything?
Oh yeah, yeah. The door opens and closes, an automatic door and lights and power.
There you go.
They cleaned it up real good. So yeah, really pleased with
Now we just got to get the band together.
it. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. This is whole Zen Bassmasters thing. Now I need to learn how to play guitar and bass and drums and stuff like
Well,
that.
This is one of the tricks we did at MTSU. Is we had some pictures made of all of us wearing black and looking real angsty. And we'd stand together but not look at each other. We'd all look in different directions. So we had this angry young band look. And we made up little flyers and posted them all over campus that we were performing at this one particular place. And people would walk by and go, "You guys rock. I saw you last week at the Borough," and had no idea who in the hell we were.
Yep.
So the Cable Pirates of the Stones River is the greatest non-band ever. It was just something we did as an experiment. And it sounds like it'd be something great we could do. Is just I break out my high level camera and we just get us some instruments and just stand around and take some odd pictures like we're getting ready for an album shoot. And
we do that. We'd be like space cowboy, geriatric guitar players. That'd be something. Give me a cane, Walker.
Okay, we'd have our one Bard song and that'd be it.
That was pretty funny. This reaction video that we did the other night was the guy actually said, "I only know one song," and here it is during the song, and it was just Bard this and Bard that, and we kind of roughed him up for it. But the video auto-played into the next incarnation of him playing that song at this huge concert in heavy metal style. It was okay. It's okay. We think we heard the word Bard in there somewhere. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Hard to tell sometimes with heavy metal.
So they're getting paid per note.
Oh God, yeah. The drummer sure was.
Yeah, very Black Page. Yeah. But it was entertaining. We learned a lot of stuff doing our first one. We also learned that our idea of setting it up like that would work.
We just threw it together because we were here. And, yeah, we didn't have the proper kit. But
Well,
yeah,
we just wanted to see how it worked. We just wanted to try it to see if two people standing behind Matt, maybe a third, would be on screen and framed and all this stuff.
yeah, they fit perfectly in camera. It works.
It was just the audio we had issues with.
Only problem is they can't make funny faces at me because I see them. So
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, something I've seen before is, especially with groups that have people like around the globe, they'll do reactions just like this. They'll be sitting on their own rig and there's something playing, and yeah, editing's a pain, but it was just a way they were able to work around that.
it's just getting everybody's timing. Yeah. But it may be the way that we have to do it. We're given that we have a new round of COVID coming up. So
Yeah.
as you well know.
Yeah.
So,
delicious.
you'd be saying we need to give you some of the triple buck. That was the
Oh God.
Hey, he's the man who'll be able to stomach it or drink it or do something with it aside from just toss it out the damn window and run away screaming.
Well, he's still medicated from Poland.
Old Poppin came and visited, left me a little gift. Nurgle is the god of disease and decay in Warhammer.
Yeah, I actually remember that. Because I think we did a little bit of Warhammer RPG, and the very first things we came with these the Nurglings.
Oh yes,
little guys.
I hate
So
them.
yeah, yes.
Nurglings and plague zombies are a must-have for any Nurgle army. Whether what was it now? Age of Sigmar, which was fantasy, and then 40k.
But to your question, see, yeah, Sean's fine with it,
Okay.
and particularly in light of the last round in game, she was humbled by the
Yeah.
situation and the pretense that she'd been showing, not really realizing quite the danger that she herself was in, as well as her parents.
All right. So is there anything particular you guys want to equip or investigate before we leave? And Fritz here's here to add a little more occultism to things. Laura's just a hobbyist. This guy's a pro.
John is concerned that she doesn't exactly fit in with this crowd.
Yeah. But the thing is, she's proven herself to be a great fighter and a fair wizard.
She will rely on them to prevent her from making any cultural errors. This is not her. This is not her pond.
Both Miss Duncan and Lord Baltimore seem to be well versed in culture hopping. She just blathers on no matter where she's at and just has that same glossing over skill with no matter what nationality she's placed in front of.
That makes it easy. I'll shut up and let her do the talking.
And Baltimore sneaks everywhere. I'm an international skulker.
I watch people with my one good eye.
I do have a question. Does Baltimore and Fritz, do they know each other? Are we going that route?
We just met.
Okay.
Fritz has been acquainted with Lord Redmond. Redmond has come to speak at the Miskatonic University a time or two, in his official capacity as the Archmage of Britain. So his reputation precedes him, and they both have mutual respect. And he's the one that introduced Baltimore to Fritz just a very few moments ago.
Got it. Okay.
And anyone that's a friend of Redmond's is a friend of mine.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
For Baltimore being Baltimore, before leaving, he'd probably have whatever information he logged out of the library written down and copied. So he'd have his whole grimoire with all of his notes and maps. He'd probably take some climbing gear, ropes, of course, rations, and his small arsenal hidden in matched luggage.
Yeah, a whole lot of this, but as far as the matched luggage, but because they're going to keep the plane tethered to the boat for a while.
Using the plane as our mobile base.
And even Laura's uncomfortable leaving it.
Did you say you had climbing gear?
Yes.
Fritz will tap the climbing gear with his cane and say, or with his walking stick, and say, do you think we would be needing that?
If you can believe the legend, some of these say that it may be in the side of a mountain or off a cliff. We're talking about the French Excalibur, what it's capable of, and everything that they claim it to be. We don't have proof of, but if it could cut through anything, I'm surely a good throw could stick it right in the side of a mountain. But the other thing too is I'm thinking if I gotta sneak into a country, if I can't go through the pass, I'm gonna climb over the mountain.
So anyway, it can be, most of it can be left in the boat or the plane, but they're just keeping it just offshore. It's not going to be that far. It's just coming in by plane would draw entirely too much attention. And the airspace is still, as controlled as pre-World War II could be. Off we go. Oh, come on. Yeah, I know. Still struggling with a big database. Yeah, I know. Just give me the picture and be done with it. Okay. Sorry about that. And it's fairly uneventful. We arrive in after dark. She lands the plane and they come to her rather than her trying to get to it. Once everybody lands, she puts up a flare and boat comes to you guys. It has a crane, so they're able to bring the plane aboard, you know, stow what you need to stow aboard ship, and proceed in the launch to the docks. All right. So with that, come on, catch up with me. I haven't placed everybody on the map, but we come in the southwest corner. You know, one of these little boats here is our launch we came in on. I can get rid of these guys. We don't need them. So I'll have you guys just put yourselves out there. Kind of down this vicinity here. There you go. Like I said, it's after dark. We'll say it's post midnight, between 1 and 2. So it's dark out, it's dimly lit. There are lights about. You can still hear boisterous voices on some of these vessels as they're partying into the night. There's still quite a few dock workers out working, but they tend to pay you really no mind. If there are a great deal of guards around here, they're not obvious. They're not uniformed, you know, fascists or anything like that. As you approach toward the primary dock, there's a young gentleman there with mustache, smoking a cigarette, leaned back against a pier. As everyone approaches, let's see if I got Laura's picture up here. I need to bring her in.
And while you're pulling that up, I just wanted to point out that Sean's going to hang back with Fritz.
Right.
Fritz looks frail, whether he is or not, so she'll take the role of somebody like his assistant helping him along.
I got you.
Not looking at anybody or anything, staying quiet, that sort of thing.
It says, "Thank you. I'm alive."
Me too.
Can't do what I wanted to do, but she's here. I'll put her at the front. She goes and meets the Spaniard, and they're having a conversation in Spanish. You know, she's actually fairly fluent. She's a little broken. Her speech is a little hesitant, and he nods his head, kind of goading her phrases along. But he kind of chuckles and gives her a kind of half hug. Okay, you're somebody I know. And as everyone else approaches, he greets you in English. Cinder says, "Thank you all for coming. The only information I have is, you know, is the Star of the Orient over there. Steamer came in yesterday morning, so at this point it's been 24 hours. Offloaded. They're still offloading, but most of what came off went in the trucks and left the docks. What is now coming off is like there's more boxes of goods. They're taking on supplies as we speak, but I've seen the manifest. They're leaving empty. They're not departing with a cargo, which I thought was odd for a long distance shipping vessel. They don't travel empty very often. But we have seen an influx of soldiers. They arrived on foot. I didn't see what kind of vehicle brought them here. But I know there are several soldiers that went aboard, and they are posting watch on board as we speak, as they're loading supplies on. And I've got people trying to locate where those trucks are going, but I do not have a definitive answer as of yet. I had a guy's name, but lost it. I never got around to the point of having him a picture. Now, just for our purposes, our fellow's name is Juan Miguel Davila. and he says he'll offer what help he can.
Oh, Baltimore would ask if there's a particular warehouse own the ships coming in.
Not anything particular by that line. They're not known to frequent here. So, like I said, this is first berthing for that vessel or that company. They have been inquiring, however, but the only thing I've gotten is they're looking for something away from the dock particular, which is odd. I'm still researching that as we speak. I don't have an answer for you. The little warehouse that's right in front of the ship there, that's the biggest thing in port right now. But they had no interest in that space. They wanted something away from the water.
Well, keep us posted on what building they acquire.
Yeah, and like I said, I've got people scouring vacant warehouses now trying to find them. Because per Lord Redmond, we were looking for Asian nationals. So we've got a lookout posted. We just haven't gotten any final answer yet. They're being damn good at being elusive.
If you had people with magical abilities, you wouldn't want them to be found.
That's part of what I fear is going on. Is they saw, cargo being loaded into trucks, people getting into trucks, but nobody saw the trucks really leave the port. It's almost like they were disguised, so it's making my job outside the port even harder. So I'm just sitting there watching the ship, trying to learn what I can. I'm no mage, but I feel that there's some magic afoot.
I can see if I can locate the nearest source of magic. Would that help? And the range modifiers for this are like it's a -2 for a half mile.
Okay. Okay.
Let me see. I'll find it. I don't have the spells all entered in.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't think we're going to get into a full-blown mage battle tonight.
Copy.
There's quite a bit of activity in the air. A lot of it is your typical seaman superstition, where people have cast protections on their own vessels and their own crews, just charms and ancient witchcraft for mariners.
Small ship.
Yeah, but there is an overlying fog that just blends in. It's like a whiff of a pie in a window, just something sweet in the air that's different. And it is coming from the vicinity of that large vessel in the northeast of the map. Now, like I said, it's a wooden vessel in this picture, but it is truly a modern steamship.
There's something in that large ship over there.
And it is, and when you look at it, the ship seems dull and gray and unimportant, and that looking at a flat gray wall permeates your magical noticing. It's just like there is a wall put up there that you feel like may cover more than just the actual ship. So it may have been some sort of an obfuscation spell employed that hid the convoy of trucks as they left. You would not be surprised with it.
Gotcha. I passed that on to them.
But it's not an active spell and it's still going on, except maybe don't pay attention to this boat. Let's see.
If we're going to attack the boat, I want you to know that I am not that kind of magic user.
Yeah. We get that you're an investigator, but I know I've got that map of Spain somewhere that you got displayed. Let's see.
Baltimore's just going to observe the ship for a little bit.
All right. Where we are is looking at that map of Spain is over near Cadiz, west of Gibraltar proper. closer to Seville. Looking at that map, if you want to get your bearings, which, given our initial in the face of some of the information we received, because where the fascist German troops are based is over there in the northeast where that red arrow is. It's just almost like a complete opposite end of where we are. There's a lot of Portuguese working the docks even. So it adds to the difficulties because you have more than one language being spoken and this kind of thing. But how much do you approach the larger vessel, Baltimore? You still keep it? Do you approach the larger vessel to watch?
Yeah, I approach it. I try and see how close I can get before they freak out. I'm just trying to gauge everything, test the waters.
No, ping me about where you think you want to look.
Let's see. It's sad to get probably here.
All right, so behind those boxes there at the corner.
Yeah.
All right. You see a lot of these guys over here. Most of them have their backs to you. Nobody really appears to be out on the dock proper. Everybody's on, looks like they're watching the perimeter of the ship. And you see, they don't really seem on alert. You see a couple of them sitting there, one lighting a cigarette for another and walking back to their station, and don't really have their weapons up. They've just got them pointed at the ground on their slings. And
Yeah. If that's the case, I'm gonna get closer.
all right, about the rest of the party, what are y'all doing as Baltimore is creeping in?
Watching him.
Laura's going to hang back and maybe even go into this building over here. This warehouse, it's directly off the prow of the vessel.
That's probably a good place for us to go as well. But speaking to Fred's.
Yeah, because there is some cover there in those boxes, barrels, and crates there.
Because I'd like to be close enough to offer some support if necessary.
Yeah, it's like I said, she's since I couldn't get her avatar to move earlier. So you're gonna hang back with Laura?
I'm still working I'm Fritz's assistant angle.
I got you.
So that's why I was suggesting to Fritz we probably ought to go with Laura.
That works. And she's got her pistols out just to be on the safe side. Everybody's kind of crouched down there trying to get a feel for what's going on in the building and out. Peeking in the window. Give me a perception roll, see what you find. All right. So just peeking in the window there. You see a German soldier pressing what appears to be a warehouse worker. Of course, the language barrier, we'll say he's got a can of something in his hand, and he's trying to, you can tell from his body language, he's trying to take it. And the other guy's pleading with him, says, can't wait till morning, can we get paid, this kind of stuff. So I can't just let you have it. And with that roll, you can tell what it is. It's basically just tobacco. It's like pipe tobacco.
I'll pass that on to the others.
He finally gets a little annoyed with it and puts his hand on his pistol and points at the door, and off he goes. With you broadcasting, it kind of throws me. So we'll just have him come out the door, and he's bebopping along and doesn't even pay any attention to you guys hanging out. He's making a beeline back to the vessel. Baltimore, give me a perception roll. So you're concentrating on what's going on board the vessel. You can't necessarily hear this guy fast walking your direction. At least not this round.
So is it clear? First question is, who came out the door? The
German
longshoreman or the German? Okay.
The German
And
show.
is it clear that Baltimore is just not seeing him?
Baltimore's crouched down up here between these two pieces. He's pretty much out of sight unless you're really looking for him. So you feel like he's got cover, but that cover is also the reason why he probably hasn't heard this guy stomping those tall boots up through here.
The guy stomping his boots, making so much noise. I'll just walk up right behind him.
All
I'm
right.
not going to do anything unless he makes some aggression against Baltimore, and if he turns around, I'll try to duck off to the side and get some cover.
I got you.
But I'm just going to pace right behind him, and if I need to, I'll grab him.
I got you. So he just continues on, and he's just muttering and snickering to himself, real proud of the fact he went and stole some tobacco for him and his buddies. Like, hey, we're in town. We got a little bit of clout. We're gonna push our weight around a little bit. Spoils of war. This is good. But he makes no offensive motion towards Sean or towards Baltimore as he progresses. All right, Baltimore, give me another one. As he approaches, let's see if you can discern his coming.
He'll be like, "Need a light?" in German. And he does have a bit of an accent. His accent in German is not flawless. Oh, don't touch that. You're going to shut off my computer.
Alrighty. Sorry, back.
Okay.
What happened with this German?
He got closer to where Baltimore was stationed, and he called out to his compatriots on board the vessel, saying, "Hey, I got some," holding up the can of Lord Albert.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Albert.
Duck behind the barrel then.
Yeah.
If the compatriots are going to be looking.
Yeah, and that's where Baltimore finds himself is now that he's within a hex. Everybody's getting their attention on him, and there's some cheers going up on board vessel from the fact that dude's come up with something on his little foray. Since it wasn't really supposed to be off vessel anyway. The guys are all excited.
Gotcha.
And as you approached, Fritz says, "I could blind him." But that was about the same time he called out. So she kind of shushed him at that, says, "We probably need to wait at this point."
Yeah, let's see what happens next.
All right, Baltimore pops up. He has his pipe in his hand and pulls out a Zippo, says, "Hey, you need a light?" And that catches the soldier off guard. He just steps back. "Was ist los?"
And Baltimore doesn't stop. He just rolls with it. And it's like, your captain would be very disappointed to see, without orders, you leaving the ship behind, going off by yourself, regardless if it was for tobacco or not. Quite unbecoming of a German soldier.
Now that you're this close to him, he's Navy.
Yeah, then that's what he says of a German sailor.
Yeah.
And of course, this is all in German.
Yeah. And you see him just get all, he tries to hurry on past.
Baltimore will not let him pass. He takes his cane and just raises it up. He goes, "Now, sailor, I would like to think that you would like to think that you don't want your captain to find out about you leaving your post. Would we agree?"
Well, sure, but why would you care, longshoreman?
It's like, "I'm here under my own orders, mainly to make sure that this little operation goes without a hitch. And it takes one sailor leaving his post for the whole operation to come asunder." I actually take the can of Prince Albert out of his hand. And I kind of shake it. And I said, "Your duty is more important than this." I give it back. And it's like, "I'm watching you. In fact, I'm watching all of you to make sure that this goes according to plan. If I see one more sailor come off that boat, they'll be reprimanded, court-martialed, and I will speak to the captain." I kind of move my cane. I tap it. I said, "And go on, back to your post."
"Yes, sir." And off he goes. Probably.
And Sean would kind of peek her head out. I'm sure Baltimore would catch sight of her, and she's got a lopsided grin. Shakes her head and back behind the barrel.
Yeah. And the closest soldier to you there on the edge of the ship doesn't even take heed of none of that. He's turned around, already trying to frisk others for light.
Yeah, I'll let him pass. I walk back toward these barrels and test on the waters.
Yeah. So anyway, you just got rank and file German Navy, looks like.
Yep.
Give me another perception roll. Now I'll take one from both of you.
That is the weirdest roll I've ever rolled yet.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
6s and a 1. About critically failed.
Yeah. Well, yesterday was Friday the 13th. We're just getting radiation from it, I guess. Both of you get it. As you're getting this close, there's that crane there loading stuff aboard. A lot of these crates that they're loading on, besides your typical rations, diesel oil and stuff, there are a lot of small arms. Not really enough to make a full cargo, but more than what the crew would need.
You think it's just something they're offloading just to show that they're offloading something?
No, they're loading it on.
Oh, that is weird.
At this point, they've offloaded everything. They're putting supplies on. So you're seeing your typical rations for a voyage, but then there's a lot of small arms. But like I said, there's a lot of food and oil and gas cans, this kind of thing. There's a whole lot of it in that stuff going aboard, more than what you would think would be for a voyage, but still not enough for a full cargo run of a ship of this size.
Those are the supplies for the soldiers. The soldiers come later.
Maybe. But like I said, they're not offloading it, they're loading it on.
So if they're getting a large amount of food, and then this is toward Zhao, or do you think mayhaps they didn't get rid of all of their captives?
Well, the way to find out is to go aboard and see.
That's true. I already convinced one sailor that I'm not who I seem to be. Could use that to my advantage.
What if you run into an officer or captain not so easily swayed?
I do what I do best. Improvise.
Yeah, dive over to the side.
Normally, shoot something, blow something up, then dive over the side, but
Yeah.
not necessarily in that order.
So it's a steamer.
Right.
How big, little?
It's medium. I would call it a good cutter size.
Okay. Is it older? Does it have like portholes along the side?
I would say very possibly. It's probably a 10, 12-year-old ship, probably 20s vintage.
Yeah.
So would any of those portholes be accessible either from pier level or from the water?
Here where you are, you could probably climb right up the bow line and get to one.
Fair enough. So she would turn to Baltimore and say, "You do what you do, I'll do what I do."
Sounds good. I'm actually going to go back to where everyone's hiding in the building, Fritz and all them, and let them in on the plan. That I'm going to wait till they're finished loading, or the process of doing that, and ask for their captain. Kind of do like a congratulatory, you did it speech while sneaks on board through a porthole. That way everyone's in on this. That way if things go south, Fritz can...
If you need a distraction, I can do a distraction.
Well, we'll do my distraction first. If my distraction goes south, you take over.
Place up.
Yep. Wang, Biz, Ow, the whole works.
Spread these guys out just a little bit. So there we go. Sean takes up her position. Laura will hang out here. Provide a little cover if you need it. All right. So you get ready to shimmy up the bow line, and Baltimore, you just go up the ramp.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go up there. I'm gonna walk with all the confidence and Man with nothing to lose.
There we go.
Now, essentially, I'm pretending to be an agent of the Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
One of his top guys.
All right. So you come aboard and you're met with he goes, I hear you've been watching things. What's your purpose?
I'm ignoring him for a second. I'm not really even looking at him. I'm looking around at things, wiping my hand on parts of the ship, rubbing my hands together, and I actually wipe my hand off and go, I have been observing the operation here, watching the men work. You could say I'm a guardian angel, making sure that everything goes smoothly and that prying eyes outside of the party stay out of it.
That's, well and good. And I appreciate the help, but we've got it under control. As you see, I've got half a dozen men up here. Nothing's going to happen.
No one may come at the ship directly, sir, but all it takes is one sailor to leave his post or not do his job correctly, and that leaves you vulnerable. And believe me, and you and me, Ensign, we cannot have that. This is too important of a task.
Give me a perception. No, they're not being kind to you tonight, are they?
Green's a green for me at this point right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, see, sir, you speak wise words. Comes a voice from over your shoulder. And you see the little Navy guy stiffen, go to attention. And he goes, Ensign, what is this? What is going on? I said, sir, this party agent was observing and reporting on how we're doing. Oh, is that?
So at that point, in a very theatrical way,
Yeah.
I lift my walking stick up, spin around, knock it to the ground, and bow forward like that a second. It's like, you must be the captain of the ship. I am Major Hellstrom.
I'm not the captain. He's indisposed at the moment. But I'm Benedict Stauffer. He's an SS major.
It's good to see at least someone is taking things seriously around here.
We're having to keep an air of laxity for the locals. Some of the things we're taking on here are, if things were too pristine, would draw far too much attention from the wrong types.
When he says I bow against, absolutely. But one can never be too safe, especially this close to Gibraltar, and especially with former Republican forces still in the area. Those of us embedded around to ensure that prying eyes stay away.
Let's just see. And somewhere or another, he buys your bullshit. Acrobatics or climbing roll or something to make your way up that rope.
I did already. Look up a couple of rolls.
Oh, I see it. Very good. No, I was
But
too.
before she went up there, she took a battle potion, increases dex, strength potion, increases strength.
I see.
Used her luck charm. So if she screws up badly, there's a way out.
Yeah.
And off we went.
You get up there, porthole standing open. You get aboard and completely miss the Oscar winnings bullshit array going on from Lord Baltimore.
Can't understand German anyway.
Yeah. But you come aboard and the hallway's empty. You make your way a few steps and there's a little crossway over to where you can look down into the hold. And it's largely barren. But the musty smell of a large group of people or animals or something like that stinting. You recognize this is where some close quarters, can't say bunking was. It seems like they were all just crammed in here. And there's still detritus that indicates such. You can see where tattered blankets and things have been piled into a corner. Just litter in general has been swept up into a corner, trying to gather stuff up to make room for the incoming boxes of stuff. The more military items that you saw are all being coalesced together in this forward area where you are, where most of the standard rations seem to be delegated more toward the rear of the hold. The crane's been dropping everything in through the opening hatch there at the top. You can see up to the stars from there. There are a couple people down on floor level battening things down. They don't seem to notice you.
All right. If it's possible to pick up some personal effects of some of the people that were here, that would be useful later. She's aware that divination can work that way.
I got you. And give me a search or investigate or something like that, because there's not going to be a whole lot of anything of any size. Oh, that's good. Let's say you find like a coin purse about that size, a cigarette pack kind of thing. It's made out of fabric and it's worn, metal clasp. Down in there, there's a couple yen. There's a few coins and a picture of a Chinese child. It's not anyone you recognize.
But that pretty much seals the deal of what was here.
Yeah, there's a couple of other odd things in there. There's a small glass vial. I don't know if you remember little jars of Daddy always used to call it nitroglycerin. It was just a little brown bottle with a screw top metal lid, but it wasn't much bigger than a bullet that those pills were in. There's a little powder in that vial. There's one of those. There's a small feather of some sort, piece of leather in there, just some odd things. Some of that stuff looks like it might be considered a spell component.
Yeah, gather it up. Just not a whole bunch, but
Yeah.
enough that we can work with later.
So there's not a whole lot of that kind of detritus there, because this would be somebody's prized possession in this situation. You fear the worst for whoever held this.
So keep looking.
All right.
Try to keep looking through the ship.
Several things that remind you of home: a sandal, a piece of clothing, a chipped rice bowl with chopsticks, these kinds of things that definitely tell you you're looking at the right thing. But
Now she's starting to get mad.
yeah, it probably couldn't have held more than 50 people, but you feel like it was probably twice that was aboard. This was not a pleasant journey by any stretch of the imagination.
Before meeting that lady in London, she would have lashed out. She would have done something aggressive, attacked a guard or tried to blow up the ship or something. But she's learned a little bit of, let's look at the big picture here. We need to find the people. And probably the best way to do that is with these that we just found, rather than proving to the Germans that we know that what they've done.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing else of interest aboard the ship, the military gear, she doesn't know anything in particular about that stuff, but does anything strike her as unusual? Or is it just a bunch of guns and ammo and stuff?
It looks like, say, for example, the light expeditionary force that's going into Kabul right now, 3,000 people.
Right.
They're traveling light. They're just going to be there for a few days, but it's supplies and resupply for a reinforcement group over land. It doesn't look like a seaborne set of supplies. It looks like land-based supplies to you when you read it down. It's not.
I'll do my best to describe it to Baltimore and the others later.
But like I said, that's the thing that makes you feel like it's odd. Is okay, they're making another stop, so they turn back east. That you get from it.
The food, is it like rice, which would indicate that it's meant for Far Eastern folks, or is it just like German rations with
We're talking flour, perishable vegetables,
Ah, okay.
stuff that don't look like
So
it's going.
fresh food.
It doesn't look like it's going very far.
Yeah,
That's
got it.
what really strikes you. It's not what you would expect for a long voyage. You expect rice and beans and corn for a long journey, but this is all fresh stuff.
Yeah, got it. Okay. I don't think she's going to push her luck. She's got everything we need.
I got you.
So find a way back out.
All right. So Baltimore, as you work your way out, and I'll let you give me one more roll to make it out successfully. Baltimore has learned a few things. Is that the good major here, Major Stauffer, is he seems to be the guy in charge. And he's here doing the exact same thing that you're claiming to be here doing. He's trying to make sure these Navy guys are doing it right. But they're not being so perfect that they're drawing attention to themselves. So he's actually asking them to be lackadaisical to help foment the ruse. And he just finds it all somewhat entertaining that it's drawn your attention. So he's trying to bat about and get information out of you. What do you know? I'm not surprised that there are people here doing this, but how much do you know about what we're doing? So that's the game you guys are playing.
And I play along without betraying anything. I keep using the vicinity to Gibraltar, as
Yeah.
well as there's still possible Republican force in the area. That's my excuses for observing. And of course, I even bring up to the majors, like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was your intentions. I see a German ship, sailors not, doing their duties. It did set me off, especially because of the times we're in right now and the importance of security. But you do have an excellent strategy. I'm doing that suck up thing too. So it was like that's quite a brilliant strategy. Don't draw attention to yourself by not looking like you're actually guarding something is quite brilliant.
I pray, sir, that if you want to see our efficiency in service, join me aboard the Statuarachen, and you will see a very highly trained crew at work. But I can't have something like that here. To be Portuguese. But we can meet here again at noon, and I'll have a launch here that'll take you out to the vessels, should you want to make a proper report to the party.
When he says that, I do my little bow again. It's like, you honor me.
I do.
And it would be rude of me to ignore that invitation or to decline it, especially someone of such high rank and degree in the party. I will gladly accept your invitation.
Okay.
I look forward to seeing a crew properly at work.
All right. So there you go. So now you got a date for lunch.
At that, I do my little bow and says, it's like, Major, at your leave.
He just kind of goes, ta-ta.
I'll walk away, and of course, as I'm walking away, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Baltimore, we got ourselves in quite the pickle here. Trapped.
Yeah, but anyway, as you have your little conversation, he's got a couple of little SS monkeys with him.
All I'm picturing right now is from Jojo Rabbit, guys.
Yeah. But, he's quite full of himself, and he's as Austrian as they come. Yeah.
I'm actually shocked he didn't go after the accent I had, especially if he is SS. If he is, he's definitely
Well,
someone high in the party.
well, that's his whole thing. As far as he's concerned, his part of this mission's over.
Mhm.
But he's find it entertaining watching you squirm. He was on the verge of laughing the whole time he was talking to you. You could tell he was stifling it. He said, "Sure, come on aboard. Have a glimpse of what the true German sea service is like.
If that's what Baltimore gets, he's like, I'm going to show you the true nature of the sea service, you son of a bitch. I'm going to sink that boat. I'm going to do something to it. Who's got mud in their face now?
But you also pick up on the fact that he's employing the exact same strategy you are. Staying offshore, motoring in, maintain a look on things, not showing your hands.
He's being smart.
But it also tells you there's something bigger going on here, and you know.
Exactly. And now we know where all this food's going.
Yeah. That's not necessarily true either. They're not going to have that much fresh food on you. Not a one of this era. They had travel on the surface most of the time anyway. You know, they still did most everything out of a can too. So you and Sean get together and have a little pow of what you found. And we made it out of that without firing a shot. I'm amazed.
Actually, I'm very shocked. I thought I'd have to pop a cap in someone.
Yeah.
Lord Baltimore, you're looking a shade paler than I saw you.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to find the SS here that soon, but here we are.
She passes on what she saw inside and then shows him the collection of valuables that she picked up. I'm hoping we can do something with this to try to track the owners of these objects.
Indeed. And Baltimore makes the point, is I'm troubled. Now, I can understand the need for having a U-boat for discretion's sake, but they already got steamers out here in a port in Barcelona. What else could it be doing out here? Unless they're going to try and shut down the gap.
Laura pipes in and says, I don't know. There's something about this that's just like your friend here you just met, Mr. Master Race over there.
Indeed.
Is this seems like a long way around the fence. If this vessel is truly taking on supplies to take to Barcelona, and we think they're trucking all the people they brought in, they eventually to the same point, why didn't they leave them on the boat and have to go the long way around to get them to their final destination? There's something that has to be done here before they get there. Yeah, the British are patrolling the channel pretty damn tightly. Maybe that's the reason why they offloaded livestock here. I don't know. There's something about it that just stinks.
I think it's a distraction.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of it. That's for sure.
Well, he's trying to make it seem like they're unimportant when they're not doing an important task. They have a U-boat out in the channel somewhere. None of it makes sense. So are they just trying to just be the perfect distraction to pull our attention elsewhere? Makes no sense. The only thing I can think of for the U-boats is shutting down the gap, the Strait of Gibraltar, shutting it down and blockading it, or keeping an eye on any British vessels in the area. But I can't think of a reason why an SS Major would be here, ensuring that a boat is a steamer of all things is having a lax crew. I've never seen any German do that. Sailor, Army, never. It has always been efficient. Everyone does their job. It's almost like he's saying they're doing it to not bring attention to himself, but I think he's doing it to try and bring us in.
I see is this. Okay, this ship being here is a secret. This ship coming here from China is a secret. All right. His boat in the ocean is a secret. There are too many secrets involved covering something up. There's a missing piece we need to find. And I got a feeling when we find these people, we'll find it. Sean,
I think the Germans are probably ruthless enough that they would sail this merchant vessel into the middle of the strait and sink it with their own U-boat as a kind of a provocateur. Give them an excuse to do more. But I think we ought to be looking for the people.
Yeah.
So she turns to Fritz. What do you think you can do with these?
Give me a moment. Now, there isn't a spell, item reading. I'm looking for that spells again and see if I can find something.
Okay. By this point, Davila has found us one of these little houses here along the docks. Little storefront. He's able to whisk us into the back where we can do this, let Fritz do his work. So we spend a little time moving back to this little shack here. And we're huddled in a little back room over a little piece of ham and a tight little biscuit, bit of cheese, trying to discern what we can as dawn approaches.
At the biscuit, Sean would make the comment, if you don't mind me saying so, all the European food I've had so far is so dry.
A whole lot of this is, again, dried meats and very dry little biscuits, so it can be handled over the ocean.
I guess I understand that, but I'm also talking about in England.
Yeah.
It's very sultry, very salty, but used to a milder taste.
Yeah. And then, like I said, it's a sharp cheddar, basically salt cured ham, and a very dry biscuit.
I don't make characters that don't like cheese. So.
Yeah. Some of the little Navy types were out looking for you, but they didn't find you. This is about as far as I had planned to go, unless Fritz finds something here in the next few minutes.
No, I was sure there was something that you could use an item as a focus to track, but I can't find anything like that.
I got you. I'll research it too. We'll see what we can come up with for next time. What do you think?
Sounds good. And I still have some points left for spells.
Yeah. Like I said, Laura's good for lots of things. She's good for lore and knowledge, but when it comes to actual practical magic, she's out the window.
Who's Laura?
She's the pilot, Laura Duncan. She's an American. She's an NPC I threw in to fill in gaps. So, any questions or abuse? Didn't get to shoot a single German tonight.
Oh, we're saving up.
Yeah, I was about to say, if luck has it, I'm sinking a U-boat.
Yeah, there you go. That would be a nice fun mission for you if you want to try to get in on that. That's not your primary objective, but somehow I think Baltimore salivating at that.
Well, anything I can do to disrupt, destroy, or any German assets out here, oh, that's just a bonus.
And and Major Stolfer is a German ass.
Wow, he's SS. That's bonus points too.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a U-boat and a major. Just a major? Oh, sorry. Hey, he was SS. Ooh, hate those guys.
Yeah. Well, anyway, like I said, you've met the big bad we've got right now.
And I'm going to rip him from your grasp.
he's turned out to be an interesting dude. I'm having fun with him.
I was just like with y'all and Gabriel. I was just just finding it entertaining.
Yeah.
All the abuse he's endured.
Speaking of such, who's up next week? So does that mean you're going to actually be available, or you think you're going to be more COVID-y next week?
I should be fine. They're actually saying that I can resume normal activities if I'm not having any symptoms or don't have a fever without medication on the 20th.
Okay.
That is the current guidelines as of right now.
I read you.
So I could, yeah.
The official version and what's coming from Lindsay's work are two different things.
That was from Lindsay's work.
Okay.
That was from because that's what the
That's not heard. You're supposed to be out for the balance of the month.
Yeah, that's what the health department told me. Was that hey, as of right now, because if it's easier, you have less time. If you have it, it's ironic to say it's better that you have it than not have it and be a close contact, because if you're not a close contact, you have to wait that whole incubation period.
I see.
So if you catch it, they're like, "Oh, this is easy. Just let it run its course. Here you go. Here's your timestamp." And
Right on.
it's like, "Here's your coffee. Thank you." I don't know. I think Starbucks tries so hard. It's just, this is our South American blend. These were hand picked in the valley of wherever and lovingly covered in glucose and then brewed. And that's like, black coffee, please. I don't care. It's worse.
That's the power of marketing. That's all it is.
Well,
Red makes it go faster. Gold pins on your HDMI give a clearer picture.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing.
Yeah.
that's why we're having so much fun with these Zen Bassmasters commercials.
Yeah. It was a great car. Yeah.
I thought HDMI cables with red stripes transfer data faster.
Damn, don't forget it.
What?
It's right there in the bullet points for the salespeople.
Wasn't that ogres that did that in Warhammer? If it was red, it was faster.
Yeah,
That's
the orcs.
The orcs. Red
Yeah.
ones go faster.
Wow.
Yes. If they
Which is-
believe it works, it will work.
It's pretty awesome. Actually,
It is. It's hilariously awesome. There's a guy, I can't remember the artist's name. He just makes little 4-panel comics, and it shows what orc mechanic would be as a weird boy. And he literally, it's a box of parts, and he's looking at it. Then all of a sudden, this giant mech appears behind him. It's done.
Well, now we know. Can
But
I hire
yeah.
that guy?
Yeah, orcs, they believe it works, so it must work. When you take into account the lore of how vehicles work in Warhammer, it's actually hilarious. To the Imperium of Man, all machines have a spirit, the Omnici, and you have tech priests of Mars, and their sole duty is to basically light candles and incense and pray to the spirit of the machine that it will work and work properly.
We already do that. Seriously. Have you not seen network engineering in action?
For the love of God, work.
Pretty much.
Please, anyone up there listening, let this work.
You
when I
ready to
flip
plug
the
it in?
switch.
It's 3 a.m. We're going to make the cut, and you're doing this. Oh, God, please. Not screwed up. Yeah.
And there is a certain amount of invocation that has to be passed over a Plymouth to get it to start, too.
It's like, oh, hell, they brought the priest in. Less in the car.
All right, well, good show, gang. There was some fun stuff in that tonight.
Yep, appreciate it. See?
Yep.
I found a spell. It's called Seeker, and it's we'll have to look at it next time.
All right, well, that does look good for our streaming program.
Yeah, the face though. That's Big Brother's been staring at me all night. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty intense.
It's like, I got the feeling that someone's looking right over my shoulder.
Yes. Hey, Neff, what was the name of the game you were talking to Seraph about? The City Builder.
Oh, Patron. Patron.
I was just looking
Patron.
at that on Steam.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
that sounded interesting.
If you like city builders, yeah.
I'm kind of but
They're a great time waster.
yeah,
Mhm.
It's
that's kind of the
definitely a
problem.
time sink. I also tried Going Medieval. It's more like Sims. Interesting.
Yeah, there's I don't think they've released it yet. It's called Humankind. It's supposed to be Sid Meier's. No, it actually looks pretty good. Who is it? It's from a company called Amplitude Studios. They have some interesting games out there that specialize in storytelling, definitely for sure, in genres. They have I'd almost say their universe is called the Endless Universe. They have games called Dungeon of the Endless, Endless
Yeah.
Space 1 and 2. They're an interesting company that they've definitely grown over the years for sure.
We'll rock, paper, scissors over who's up next week. Get us lined up.
There you
That'll
go.
work.
I'm ready to go with.
Right on. Like I said, hey, giving you ample time to sit there and work, you might be ready to go. Who knows?
Yeah.
Thing too is when the whole time I had it, it's just I'm going to work on game shit and never touched it. I just couldn't get myself off the couch. So I understand you have grand plans of doing great things and just couldn't do it. I had the same problem while I was sequestered.
Yeah, if Thora would take naps, it's like all my maps are animated somehow.
Yeah.
Hey, I haven't made an animated video as an intro. I'm so bored. God help me.
Yeah, that is telling. Game roll 20 quality equates to yeah.
If it helps, we'll pay homage and take a nap for Thor.
Yeah, I think I've taken more naps than she has.
There you go.
I don't know. It's one of those things I never understood with kids. It's like they just don't want to nap because you're forcing them to do it. But it's just trust me, enjoy this.
Mhm.
It's gonna be gone, and you ain't getting it back.
The old saying, youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not quite accurate. I get plenty of naps.
All right. Well, good show, gang. I'm going to log and go visit with Katie a few minutes.
Take care, Peg. You and family hang in there.
Thank you.
Will do.
Have a good one.
And
All righty, sounds good.
easy, y'all.
Yep.
You get to feeling better, okay?
Yep.
Because I know it ain't no fun.
Nah. But,
And you're like me. If you were actually working, you could ignore it.
yeah. Yeah. Every now and then, I get like a sharp pain in my nose.
Yeah.
It's right there.
There is a whole lot of that you snorted pool water feeling.
Yep.
And between that, it feels like somebody's sitting on your chest. You almost can't lay flat.
Yeah. I've had to sleep on my side.
But I still have 2 or 3 points during the day that just allergies murder me. On my way into work, I'll pass by this certain house. It's just some sort of little cloud. It fogs up the windows, and I start sneezing every morning. And then about the time the sun goes down, it'll do it again. And I'll get a coughing fit if I need to eat or if I'm full. When I'm starting to get hungry, I'll start coughing.
Hmm.
Won't cough anything up, it'll just be a coughing fit. Then when I finally finish my meal and I'm very satisfied, I'll cough again, have a little coughing fit again. It's the strangest shit. Stuff that didn't happen before COVID, but has happened since.
Yeah.
And it took me forever getting stamina back under me.
Yeah. I'd say out of all of us, Lindsay's definitely been hit the hardest.
Yeah.
She was having one night. She's just, oh god, I can't. It's hard to breathe, and it's just, do we need to go to the hospital? Because that's what I was thinking. Because those CDC says if you have trouble breathing, my mother, she's like, no, it's just I have these coughing fits. And it's like, is it
You can't
over?
catch your breath in between them. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about because that's what happened to me when I had bronchitis for the first time. If I laughed, something tickling my throat, you just cough, and then you're just like,
It's almost like you drank something and went the wrong way,
yeah,
where you got that choked up, scratchy at the back of your throat that you can't unload. And that's the most annoying thing that is even now still going on.
yeah,
But so we had to have puffed on crystal albuterol machine about 3 nights in a row. We sat there and stuck on that thing for about 30 minutes. And that was about the only way we'd find enough relief to settle it down and go to sleep.
Mm.
But after those 3 days, we started leveling out. Just that's really what set me off as to not been able to, really turn over a full day.
yeah.
I've now got run a full day without dying, but still ain't getting the numbers for it. It's all right. We'll just be well and keep us posted as to how you are. Well, all right. I'm gonna see if I can't figure out some more on this new phone. I'm starting to get some of my sounds back on it, but I can't get stripes back.
That sucks.
I gotta find me a new regular ringtone. So, but anyway, just be well, and I'll holler at you later. Just keep us posted.
Yep, will do.